Hi everyone, Luke here from Weekend Tour Pros. We're back again today with another club review, and today we are reviewing this. It's the Callaway Paradym driver. Now I've been absolutely blown away by both of the Callaway Paradym irons this year, so really keen to get my hands on this driver and see if it performs just as well as those irons. Let's get down to the studio and let's give it a hit. Okay, so just got down to the bay and I've got the Callaway Paradym driver in my hands for the first time. My first impressions are, wow, what a good looking driver this is. I've been really impressed actually with the looks on all of the Callaway clubs this year. I tested a couple of the sets of irons recently and they were both absolutely gorgeous looking golf clubs. I really enjoyed hitting them. I'm hoping it's going to be the same with the driver, but yeah, really loving this kind of navy sort of fading into black pattern they've got at the bottom of the driver. That little bit of kind of gold with the weighting at the back of the driver and a couple of little gold colorway bits as well at the bottom. Reference to the jailbreak AI, which is in their face technology, hopefully makes it a little bit more stable. If we turn it upside down and just look at it at address, we've got that checkered pattern that's on almost all golf clubs this year. It seems to be that they've got the same graphic designer in every golf manufacturer at the moment because they're putting this checkered design on. This time, instead of it being kind of a black and grey that I've seen on other clubs, it's kind of that navy that we saw on the bottom and the black. But the way the driver's shaped, it does feel as it kind of shapes away from you towards the back of the club. It kind of fades to a black design, makes the driver probably frame really nicely. Maybe doesn't look as big as some of the drivers that I've actually tested. I definitely think some of the more matted drivers like my Ping G410 probably looks a little bit of a bigger profile at address just because of the way the curves are on this one. We've got the little Callaway lineup line on the top of the head that hopefully helps you to kind of line it up. And we have got some markings on the face as well to hopefully help you see the sweet spot. And it does inspire a little bit of confidence because you can kind of see a little bit of loft there as well. So if you're someone that always feels like you're trying to help your driver into the air, you might like the markings on the Callaway Paradym driver because it might help you to see a little bit more loft and feel a little bit more confident. I must admit the lines on the face of the driver, they are really good. I think it's something that more manufacturers should do because it really does help people like me to line it up a bit more. I have just been testing the Cobra Aerojet driver and that had kind of some circular markings around the sweet spot, almost in the shape of a golf ball. I found that really good when lining up and I kept commenting on that in that video. I don't think these lines are as impressive or as helpful as maybe the Cobra one, but definitely helps you to see kind of the center of the face versus the heel and the toe and hopefully line your club up and your ball up in the right place to hopefully get the best maximum contact. Now in terms of the Callaway Paradym driver range this year, you've got the Triple Diamond, which is their low spin model. Again, we're quite used to now most manufacturers releasing 3 different heads. That low spin head in the Callaway is the Triple D or the Triple Diamond. Then got the standard Callaway Paradym, which is the one that I'm hitting today. And then you've got the Paradym X, which is a bit like the X version of the irons, designed to be a little bit more forgiving. That typical draw bias driver, that anti-slice driver that most of the manufacturers are making today. So definitely there's an option for every kind of golfer in them. I'm going to test the standard one today. Again, I think for me, I might be the kind of Paradym X driver player just for that little bit of forgiveness to try and keep the ball flight straight, but really keen to see what this one does. I am keeping everything set up at neutral just to test it fairly against all the other drivers that I hit as well on the channel. But yeah, really keen to give it a hit. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it feels and sounds great. Little bit of a cut. Yeah, really good start. So 92 mile an hour club head speed, so I'm a couple of mile an hour slower than I am at my kind of peak. Ball speed of 132.5, carrying at 204, spinning at 3096, launching at 12.4. So we're always looking for that kind of high launch, low spin with the driver. For me, I think that's a really good start. It felt and sounded fantastic. I really did like the feel, really did like the sound of it. It sounded really good. So keen to see if we can just eke a few more yards out of it, if I can start to find the center of the face. But yeah, good start from the Paradym. Slightly low on the face, but it's almost gone dead straight, maybe a yard or two of cut, a little bit lower ball flight. Yeah, look at that now. So I've got it out to 94 mile an hour club head speed. The ball speed has jumped up to 138.2, which is as high as I'm ever going to see it. Carry's only 203 because of my strike location there. Totaling at 232 because of how much run out it had from the low strike, spinning at 3.1. So one of the things that all these manufacturers are talking about at the moment, Because they can't make them any longer, these drivers, because of the limit on how much ball speed you can generate from your club head speed, smash factor at 1.5, they're all talking about trying to make the drivers more stable and more forgiving so that you retain ball speed when you hit other parts of the head. That's what we're seeing here, is actually you get that kind of slightly lower hit, you get a little bit more spin, keeps the ball in the air, hopefully retains the ball speed and hopefully gives you some good distance. I've hit there a really, really high ball speed, considering I didn't hit it that great, and it's allowed it to carry still 203 yards, about 7 yards, 8 yards down on what would be a good hit for me, despite the fact I didn't hit it out the middle. So yeah, really impressed by that. Really good. So I've caught that one a little bit higher on the face. So the ball speed was only 132.5, but because I've been able to hit up on it a little bit more, launch it in the air, we got 212 yards of carry that time, spinning at 2923, launching at 15.1. It's definitely seen a bit more of that high launch, lower spin with that there. I've just pulled that one a little bit down the right again, but it's flown beautifully. Wow, ball speed 139.1, carrying at 206, again probably because of my strike, total at 242 because of the pull, spinning at 2125, so we've definitely got that slight lower spin there from the pull, launching at 10.2. Oh, it's a shame, I've pulled that one again. Again, the ball speeds off this are absolutely fantastic. I know I've pulled that, but 139 mile an hour ball speed, certainly at the top end of what I ever see. Carry at 205, again caused by my strike, spinning at 1933, launching at 11.4. So always keen with these drivers to see how much ball speed I can eke out of them against my club head speed, how efficient, especially off the different parts of the face, and then how does that retain that carry distance. This seems to be doing a really good job of it. Don't feel like I've middled lots of them yet, but still seeing carry well over 200 yards comfortably. I've caught that right out of the toe, but it's been beautifully flighted still. Really, really good for a toe strike. Let's see how much ball speed it's retained this time. Yeah, so 132.7 mile an hour of ball speed, carrying at 200.5 yards, spin at 2304 and launching at 11.3. Yeah, that's nice. Just stayed straight. Really, really good ball flight. Wow, longest one of the day. I've hit a really, really good one. 92.8 of club, 137 mile an hour of ball speed, carry at 213, which definitely is my longest of the day, totaling at 242.9, spinning at 2387, launching at 11.3. Yeah, really good. Would love to repeat that to finish just to show what this thing is capable of, but it does show that with a centered hit, it's capable of being as long as anything that I hit. Yeah, got a little groove for the timing of it now. That one's probably about 5 or 6 yards right of target. Yeah, really good. So 92 mile an hour of club head speed, 137.1 of ball speed, carrying at 206, 240 total, spinning at 2167, launching at 10.3. I want to see, can I do 3 in a row? Now I've got the timing for it. Oh my God. That's the best drive I've hit of the day. It's got to be long. Please be long. It's so good. 93.2 of club head speed, ball speed 134.6, carrying at 214, the longest hit of the day, totaling 241, spin at 2397, launching at 12.9. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because I think that's a really fantastic drive to finish on. I've been testing a couple of drivers today, starting to get a little bit tired and don't want my kind of tiredness to impact what I think of the driver. Initial feelings while I'm in the bay, Callaway have made an absolutely fantastic driver here with the Paradym. I don't think Callaway have done anything bad this year. I really, really love the irons, really, really love the driver as well in the Paradym range. It looks absolutely fantastic, particularly if you like a high gloss finish, you'll really, really like the looks of this driver. In terms of the performance, on sweet spot hits, you've just seen at the end as I was able to time it up that I was getting some fantastic performance. Not sure if this would necessarily be the right shaft for me, and that might explain some of the hits I was getting towards the start of the session, but as soon as I worked out how to time this one up, delivered some fantastic performance and some real consistency. I think the last 3 shots were 212, 213, 214, and in terms of those kind of off-center hits, all the drivers at the moment talking about that forgiveness, this one's no different. We saw some really good retained ball speed on those off-center hits, particularly low on the face, still did get it out there over 200 yards, meaning I've probably got 1 club extra into the green than I would have liked to have had, but hey, we'll all accept that if we don't find the middle of the club face, right? So overall, great job Callaway. Really keen to get home, look at the data side by side against a batch of shots I hit shortly before I started filming with my own Ping G410, just to see if those feels I've just described to you are backed up in the real data. Let's head on home. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers from that batch of shots you've just seen me hit with a Callaway Paradym driver compared to my own Ping G410 that I hit shortly before I started filming for benchmarking purposes on the day. Now the first thing to note is that the club head speed with my Ping G410 was 1.8 mile an hour faster than the Callaway Paradym. Now I think that's purely down to the fact that my Ping G410 is custom fit for me. I've had it a couple of years, I feel really confident with it, I've hit it hundreds of times and I really do feel like I can go after it. Compare that to a driver that I've picked up for the first time and the shots that you've just seen are the first shots I've ever hit with a driver. It's understandable that it's going to be a little bit tentative, particularly towards the beginning of the video. Despite that, however, you can see that the ball speed with the Paradym driver was 1.2 mile an hour faster on average, and there were some absolutely fantastic hits in there in terms of ball speed numbers as well. And as a result, the smash factor at 1.46 is better than the 1.42 with my Ping driver. That does say to me that the Callaway Paradym does have the potential to be a faster driver than the Ping G410. In terms of drivers, we always talk about high launch, low spin being the optimal that we're looking for. We can see here that the Callaway Paradym driver was lower spinning at 2495 versus 3016 with my Ping driver, and the launch conditions were similar, albeit slightly lower launching with the Callaway Paradym. And because of that lower spin, you can also see that the peak height with this driver was about 59 feet versus 71 feet with my Ping G410. Now for me personally, I am someone that likes to see the ball pop up a little bit more with driver, so I don't feel like I have to lean back or stay behind it as much. And I do think that I do prefer the ball flight with my Ping G410, but I definitely think if I was having a fitting with a Callaway fitter, I could get a slightly more optimal ball flight for me and potentially deliver a little bit of extra carry distance. And in terms of that carry distance, you can see it was about 3.1 yards less with the Callaway Paradym, but because of that slightly lower ball flight, the total distance was about 4 yards further than my Ping G410. Now one thing I do want to show you is you could see in the video it took me a little bit of time to get the kind of feel for the Callaway Paradym driver in the setup that I tested it on the day. So if we just take the last 3 shots that you saw me hit there and compare them to all the shots with my Ping G410, we can see that the numbers just bring that to life for us a little bit more. Despite the fact that the club head speed retains itself as being a little bit lower, we can see the ball speeds jumped up a little bit more, the smash factors jumped up a little bit more, and the carry number is now longer than my Ping G410, albeit only 0.7 yards. However, the total distance has now crept over 240 yards, and we've kept very similar spin, launch and peak heights than we saw through the batch of shots with all of them included as well. So that does say to me there's some really good potential for this to be a long driver as well as a fast driver. In terms of the impact location, you can see here that brought to life for you. There are a lot of good hits that are quite centered with it, but there is one that's slightly out towards the toe and a couple that are a little bit lower on the face. Compare that to my Ping G410 where they're all out of a really consistent spot out the middle. You can see why some of the numbers might be a little bit different than the averages that we got with my Ping G410. In terms of dispersion, I didn't get a consistent shot shape with the Callaway Paradym, and as a result I wasn't as confident hitting it as I was with the Cobra Aerojet that I hit shortly before I filmed this review. Now I'll put the link to that up in the channel in the corner for you if you want to see it, because that has already landed on the channel. That one was hitting a baby cut time after time onto target. With this one it was a little bit more inconsistent, however I was able to find a really good dispersion with it. If we take away that one shot that's right out to the right hand side of 40 yards right, that would probably find the rough on most golf courses, but all the rest of the batch of shots are kind of somewhere in the region of about 40 odd yards of dispersion, and that's probably going to find most fairways on most golf courses around the world. So I was able to get some really good dispersion despite the fact I had a slightly more inconsistent ball flight with this driver. So just want to give you my final thoughts on the Callaway Paradym driver. Now the first thing I want to say is this driver looks absolutely fantastic, like all of the Paradym range does this year. So if that's important to you, I definitely think you want to put this one immediately towards the top of your test list. In terms of how it performs, the performance at the best hits that I could get out of it, it is long and it is fast. For me to see ball speed of 139.1 mile an hour and a carry distance on that last drive of 214 yards, both of those are the longest that I've seen and the fastest that I've seen when looking at these numbers on TrackMan over the last couple of months as I've been hitting my own driver and testing other drivers for the channel. One thing I would say is it definitely took me a little bit more time to get those good numbers out of this driver, and I think that's more to do with the setup of the configuration that I had on the day. I always like to test these drivers with a stock shaft and in the neutral settings so it's comparable to my other videos on the channel. This driver probably just needs a little bit more fine tuning for me to get the absolute maximum performance out of it more often. And that maximum performance is probably what you started to see towards the end as I started to get a feel for the timing of the setup that I had on the day. Now in terms of overall, I think this is a fantastic driver. Definitely think it should be on your test list. I also think we've got the advantage of the X version of the head as well, which might appeal to a few more golfers in terms of offering a bit more of a draw bias and hopefully retaining those fantastic ball speed and carry numbers as well. And that might also be the right head for me as well if I was to go back and have a custom fitting. All that remains for me to say is thank you so much for watching my video. If you like it, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. It really does help golfers like yourself to find my content on YouTube. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, go on, hit that button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and you'll get notified every Friday when one of my videos lands on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Keep on that quest to become a weekend tour pro. Goodbye.